Once in a while, I need to check whether two regular expressions match each line of a file. Let's say we have two regular expressions A and B, and then we could build up a more complex regular expression with the two combined. And some people tend to do this because they sort of feel that running one regular expression like this is faster than having two regular expressions separately. Now this is just more complex and probably much slower than running two regular expressions separately, like in this example. But let's see how it really works out with some more realistic code. So let's say that the current line in a file can be found in the line variable, and then we have two regular expressions comparing, checking whether the line matches, and combine the two with the AND Boolean operator of Perl. Now, in order to have this actually tested, we use the lorem ipsum website to have some text to go over, and we paste it here in the file just under the __data__ tag. That will allow us to read in these lines as if this was an external file, just by using the data file handler. So we put this while loop, reading in line by line the text under the data, and then we replace the two regular expressions with lorem and ipsum, looking for those two strings, and if both match, then we are going to print out the line. So let's run this script, and we see that there are 3 lines matching both of these strings. Now, this is okay, but what happens if there are more than 2 regular expressions? Putting in a big regular expression with several AND statements is going to be a bit cumbersome, difficult, whatever. It's probably better to create an array of regular expressions. In this case, we have to use the QR operator in order to make sure that the regular expressions are passed as regular expressions and not executed immediately on the assignment. And we even added a third regular expression, just the letter A, just to show that it works even with more than 2 regular expressions. Now, we need to go over somehow the regular expressions and make sure that all of them have matched. So for this, we can use a counter, let's say called matched, that starts out with 0. Then we loop over all the regular expressions with a for each loop. And if the current regex matches the current line, we increment the counter by 1. Then we finish this loop and finish all the regular expressions. And then we expect here that the number in the matched variable is the same as the number of regexes in the array. If they are the same number, then all the regexes matched, so we print out the line. Let's see how does this code work if you run it. Oops, there was some error. The regular expression hasn't been closed, so let's do that. The colors are much better now. If you run the script, we see that we get the 3 lines again exactly as earlier, because the A character matches basically almost every line here. Now, this is a good solution, but it's a bit too many lines, and there's another issue. We actually match every line, every regular expression we use, even if some of them have failed. We go over all the regexes, even though we know that we could short circuit the loop. So because if the first regular expression, one of the regexes doesn't match, then the rest, that doesn't matter that the rest matches. The end result is that we shouldn't print it out. So what we do is that we created a variable called failed that will indicate whether we have found any fail, and then we leave the internal loop using the last statement if we found a failed matching, and then in the end we are checking whether this failed variable has been set or not. And as you can see, the end result is the same. But this time the script is probably running much faster because we short circuit the internal loop every time we found something that hasn't matched already. We could do actually better. We could do actually better by, instead of using this failed variable, instead of that, using a label on the external loop and jumping out to that label using the next statement. Now we don't need the failed statement, and we know that if we arrive at this point where the internal loop ends, then it's a case where all the regexes have matched. And the result is the same. Now, as you can see, this solution is shorter than the first one. It has the same short-circuiting way, so it's also faster. Now, there is actually a different construct that you could use. This is the statement modifier way. If you put the next, oops, there is a syntax error here. So let's go back. Oh, there is the semicolon, the parentheses. As you can see, the result is the same. What we have here is that we turned around the if statement and we say, go to the next line if the regular expression doesn't match. Now there is an even better solution probably using the all function imported from the list more utils module. All function gets a block which will be executed for every item of a list or an array provided. Each item will be placed in the $_ variable, and then this block is going to be executed. And if all the executions return true, then this all expression will also return true. So we don't need the label anymore, and we just use this all statement to run the script, and the result is the same. The only thing in the question whether this all statement, whether it short circuits or not, but it will check it at a different screencast.